Okay, good afternoon, folks. I'm going to call this meeting to order, please. We'd like everybody to please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome again, everyone. I'm going to have Ms. Woodward call roll, please.
Susan Marshall, Jenny Benner here, Becky Ricketts here, Barney Sarcon here, Nikki Stanley here, Amy Stuber here, Jim Gates, John Seymour.
Here. Very good. All right, our first order of business this evening is approval of our August 25th council meeting minutes. Those meeting minutes have been distributed. I believe there's been some corrections that have been made. Entertain a motion.
We don't have those minutes. I don't have a copy of those minutes.
August 25th. Last week. Is that right?
Oh, okay, thank you.
August 25th.
Yeah, this is not.
So you make your corrections here.
Stacy, did you receive that email that I sent later on this afternoon to present to a board? I looked on the minutes this morning and it's in, but shut my laptop down. So,
But I did not, everything's already been printed, so I did not want to do it, edits and then I'll
okay.
send it.
And so that's the minutes that we're motioning to approve, so. I just,
Well, you're gonna have to
wait,
make changes.
or just wait, but we'll wait for the next month to pass. Well, because we don't have a hard copy, again, because I didn't see it until this afternoon, so.
One person made corrections to the minutes. We're not sure if everybody agrees. Obviously, now we're in an open meeting, so if somebody else had changes, so you have the original minutes that have been distributed. Can we make those changes tonight, or would you rather table those until everybody comes to a consensus on what they want to look at, what they want to approve?
I say we table the minutes. I make a motion to table the minutes. Yes, August 20th, 2025 minutes.
Been a motion by Ms. Stuber. Is there a second?
A second.
Ms. Benner, a second. Those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? No. Thank you, sir. Minutes have been tabled. September 15th, caucus meeting minutes, last Monday. Entertain a motion on those or corrections?
I make a motion to approve Monday, September 15th, caucus meeting minutes.
Been a motion by Ms. Stanley, second from Ms. Bartow. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Those meetings pass. Okay, thank you. Let's move on here to your treasurer's report as of September 1st. We call Ms. Sonia Kaiser. Please key on that microphone, by the way. I'm sorry.
Our beginning balance is $3,415,432.30.
Let me just read it over again.
Sorry, and the mic works now.
Beginning balance, $3,450,432.35. Receipts of $1,253,554.70. Disbursements, $687,329.43, with an ending balance of $4,016,657.62.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any questions for Ms. Kaiser? Margaret?
I have a question about the variance reports. So looking at the end of year, from last year for the police headquarters, it looks like we were just under 2.8 million that was spent, but then we've already spent over that amount, that 350,000 this year. And so I'm curious if there's an explanation about the overage of that.
We discussed that a little bit last time, the final payments, and we withheld some of the final payment due to some things that have needed to be shored up there at the department, a few things to be fixed. So yes, we've made payments into this year. And you're saying 2.8, I thought it was 2.7 something. I don't have that right in front of me, but at the end of the day, there were several change orders and everything else that's going to be projected a bit over, obviously, and we talked about having to do an amendment regarding that, and those are things that we just can't not do with the construction of the department. So we don't have that answer or final tally because we haven't made that final $20,000 or so payment.
So there's still more left to pay.
Should be $20,000.
Okay, because it's a significant amount of money that we went over, and we were told that we were under budget, so even including that extra 20,000 that we had in this year's budget, my math says that we're a little over 115,000 over what was budgeted for the police headquarters, so I would appreciate if we could either see the receipts or know how they caused that.
You can have that full report by next month. I'm sure that should be completed by then.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you said at the last meeting you were gonna have all the payment information for the police headquarters.
Is that this past Monday?
Yes.
I don't recall saying that would be this Monday. But,
So,
that's fine.
have we made all the payments in for the headquarters?
No, there's still that 20,000 that is retained.
So, the initial cost, like Ms. Benner said, was under 3 million. How are we over budget? Because we were supposed to be under budget with the lack of.
Several change orders, the things that happened with the flooding that we discussed a few times with the elevator and changing it into a lift.
Which was supposed to be less money.
Well, yes, but then obviously when we were excavating for the elevator, as we discussed, we discovered that we 6 inches more to go and they hit an underground spring. So the remediation for the water in the basement and the things that happened with that. I can get a list of those things together. There's a list of several things that were called change orders during that did cost more money than the projected bid that you awarded back about a year ago.
Okay. And then one of my other questions is, so we knew that we had the payments in this fiscal year 25-26 that we had left, which is what, around 370,000? Why didn't we only budget 20,000 for police headquarters capital projects? Why didn't we budget the remaining payments?
Well, because that was supposed to have been paid by July 1st. And again, we hit roadblocks that prolonged the building and completion of the building. So it went past July 1st. Therefore, during our budget discussions that began way back in April, putting that spreadsheet together for you, we were assuming, unfortunately, that it would have been finished by July 1st. We would have completed all the payments and it would have been finished. So, no, it wasn't. We got carried over, and therefore, you did approve $20,000 against my suggestion of 200 something, I believe it was. And if it wasn't, then it was way more than 20. That's all I have to say.
And it's also the timing of when they invoice us. that all comes into play, and then we can always ask the auditors if, because this should have been billed, say in June, 200 some odd thousand. If we could put that back, just to do an entry to adjust for that.
Because I'm just wondering if there's any correlation with our overage now and the fact that our budget amendment that we passed for last year's budget changed from the first reading to the second reading, where public safety went up by $95,000 and the capital project went down, which it should have gone up because that was the month that we made our last payment for that year, according to an email that we have. So I'm just trying to understand.
Well, like we said, we can get back to you next month with that, with the final numbers. And we've discussed budget amendments numerous times, and that this was going to happen.
Sonia, you said we could ask the auditors if we could put it back in
Yes.
FY 25?
Yes,
So we go do that and let us know.
right.
Thank you.
And can we put this under old business, or unfinished old business for next month on the agenda?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything further for Ms. Kaiser? Okay, hearing none, thank you, Ms. Kaiser. All right, our next report is our police report. I'm going to call Dr. Chief Schroeder up here, please.
Good evening. In the month of August, the Linden officers conducted 99 activities that required a report. Within the city of Linden, 266 outside of the city, well, all areas, including outside of the city of Linden. Keep in mind, as we've discussed before, those include areas of Linden that, for some reason, the state system don't record as being in Linden. And it includes activities that the officers did off duty. When you look year to date within the city, it's 897 reportable activities and 2,077 in all areas. This data was taken from the Kentucky Ops system, which is the state's record management system. When you look at our activities throughout the month, we had a total of 2,447.8 hours that we noted on the billing reports. Of those, 75.6 were in the city of Linden. Again, that's for August. Looking at notable activities, first off, I'd like to congratulate Sergeant Becky Franklin and Deputy Chief Chris Thomas. Both officers have completed the FBI's prestigious Lead Command Leadership Institute training. One of the things we try to do is continuously improve, continuously drive our people forward with better skills, better tools, better activities. To that note, I was actually contacted by a member of our department's late watch platoon who wanted to compliment one of our sergeants. This officer was having some particular issues with a family health crisis. Sergeant Greg Letty went above and beyond to ensure that the officer was supported and helped the officer throughout that overwhelming experience. He spent quite a bit of his own time assisting our officer get through the troubled times. For that, Sergeant Letty received a letter of commendation. Good job on his part. He is not here. She was. Yes, she's back. She's back there. Chris, Becky, you stood up. On August 8th, Linden officers responded to the area of Christian Way and Shelbyville Road to assist the Louisville Metro Police Department on a robbery and stabbing from PNC Bank. Upon investigation, it turns out that incident started in the city of Pershorn in a home where a subject entered a home, kidnapped the mother and her 2 children, forced them to drive to PNC Bank, demanded a large sum of money, and then during the process stabbed the mother. He fled through Linden, up through the Osmore Toyota, crossed the St. Margaret Mary School, into the city of Norwood. Officers from Linden, St. Matthews, Metro, Sheriff's Office, a variety of agencies flooded the area. We conducted an extensive search for the subject and were unable to locate him at the time. However, we got several calls for service across Linden and across the other areas that day. And we got one towards around 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Linden, where Officer Richard Brooks and Trish Seawood responded. Officer Brooks is right behind me over there. Upon going, noticing that there was one in nearby St. Matthews, they sped over to that area, observed the subject, and took off running. Officer Brooks chased that subject through the area up across the interstate, and it was very confusing because we were going in circles trying to find where they are, because they were on this side, they were on that side. It was really confusing, but through a team effort, our officers, St. Matthews officers, and some Metro officers were able to apprehend the subject, get some significant evidence, and ensure that our community was safe. So, good job with them. And on August 27th, our officers responded in the area of Blairwood Road on a report of a woman being held hostage in a domestic violence situation. It turns out that that incident has started off Hunter Road in Linden, and it is a Linden resident. We responded over to the area of the Red Roof Inn where they felt the lady was at. We were unable to locate her. We checked all the known occupied rooms at the time. We were able to locate her. Her phone started pinging in the 85-ish 100 block of Westport Road over by Westport Middle, kind of that area. We rushed over there only to have her phone start pinging back off I-64, where we rushed back. We again checked the hotel. We got a description of a possible car the suspect was driving. Officer Chase Franklin went over to the Red Carpet Inn, which is in Jeffersontown. It sounds an awful lot like the Red Roof Inn. I was able to locate the car. We rushed over there, called for Jeffersontown. While we were waiting, the suspect and the victim came out of one of the rooms. We swooped in and were able to rescue her. Their daughter in common was being held at another location. We were able to get Metro officers over there to ensure that she was safe. And she was eventually returned to the grandparents, and everybody was safe through that. That's currently going through the process of court right now. But as a result of their actions in that, Officer Chase Franklin, Officer Kenneth Jones, Officer Brian Reynolds, Detective Mark Wampler, and Detective Michael Thompson were all awarded the Meritorious Service Award because that was truly a chaotic event. They did not slow down one bit. We kept driving forward until we were able to rescue her, so I'm very proud of that. And one last incident that I just can't let go for tonight. It's actually out of this month. It happened on the 17th last week. But 5 of our officers were assaulted in an event occurring over in the 800 block of Linden Lane at the Linden Station Bar. A subject entered the bar, started assaulting customers. We responded. I arrived at the same time as Officer Noah Jabari. The gentleman focused in on Officer Jabari. As I was walking over there, I was dealing with another gentleman who came up basically to tell me what was going on. I said, hold on. By the time I turned around, the gentleman was kind of swinging at Officer Jabari. We held him at taser point until we could get him into custody, which we thought this is going to be the end of it. But then he really started assaulting us. He headbutted Officer Corey Baker, who's behind me. Officer Robert Yoshioka was also headbutted. Detective Mark Wampler, who's behind me, sustained a cut during the struggle. I got bit during the struggle.
Some alcohol involved by any chance?
I don't know if there was alcohol involved. I didn't smell any. I don't know if there was another substance involved, and I couldn't smell any. I don't know if it was just an issue of some form of emotional disturbance. Don't know if that's what he had going on, but interestingly enough, about 2-3 hours later that night, St. Matthews had a very similar incident occur there. So it may be an instance where there's some bad drugs on the street. Don't know the answer to that, but I couldn't let it pass because that exemplifies kind of what we really do on the street. Those are the situations that occur. That's why we need so many people, because even though this guy was handcuffed, he went absolutely crazy, and his strength was just the charts. That's why we need so many people to safely handle these situations. And I couldn't help but recognize all of our officers back there that got hurt. So that's all I've got. If you got any questions about the rest of the report, there's some other incidents in there. I'll be glad to answer any specific questions about those. Otherwise, that's all I got.
Chief, any updates on any of what you discussed at the meeting last week regarding the car break-ins and the AK rifles?
It was an AR-15. Yeah, as far as I know, we've done a lot of patrolling. I myself stayed out on the 17th until about 1 o'clock-ish, give or take, in the morning, basically until I couldn't go anymore. I don't know that we've had any mass break-ins like that, but I do know they continue to occur around the county. So we'll just kind of keep watching and hope and pray nobody gets hurt.
I noticed on the Nextdoor app, there was some activity off of Perishing. It looked like somebody said that, for what it's worth, there were 12 vehicles on the street, police vehicles. They were going after people that were breaking into cars. Somebody thought that it was a coordinated effort. I didn't know if Linden Police was a part of that with Metro or...
Yeah, off of Pershing, I'm not familiar with that. It may have been one of the incidents. That neighborhood did get hit a little while back. It may have been when our officers were in the area flooding and taking reports. That may have been it. As far as any operations like that, I'm not aware of.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move along here. We have municipal order 92225. That is an order relating to the appointment of the safety director. You will have that in front of you. Would you like me to read it? I'm going to read it. Whereas the City of Linden Ordinance Section 36.05 establishes the Office of Safety Director, which appointment is made by the mayor with consent and approval of the City Council. Whereas the City of Linden desires to appoint a safety director, now therefore be it ordered by the City of Linden that the City Council does hereby ratify and confirm the hiring and appointment of George Stewart as safety director, subject to the conditions listed herein. This employment begins on whichever day we choose. Pay shall be, we don't have that yet, per month until June 30th, 2026. Thereafter, pay to be set through the city's annual budget process. This is a part-time position, less than 32 hours per week and less than 100 hours per month for a calendar or fiscal year. All terms and conditions of employment are subject to the city's personnel policy. As a part-time employee, no contribution to Kentucky retirement systems will be made. Hours, days of work, and supervision shall be controlled by the mayor. Duties and job description are set out in section 36.05 of the city ordinances. This is the municipal order you have before you. We do have Mr. Stewart here. Would you like to hear from him? Is there any questions for Mr. Stewart?
I don't think at this time.
That there are no questions? Do you care to take a motion for approval?
I make a motion that we approve Mr. Stewart as the safety director.
I'll second that. Motion and a second from Ms. Sabah and a second from Mr. Yates. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
2 ayes. Those opposed?
Nay.
Very good. 2 to 5. Motion fails. Mr. Stewart, thank you, sir. So what does this mean? Does anybody care to make comment?
As we talked about in the previous meetings, we would post this on our website. We would also post this in any other social media outlets that might be job hunting, searching type avenues, so that it opens it up to maybe there might be other candidates out there that might be interested in jobs. Nothing against Mr. Stewart. We just need to follow what we said we were going to do and post it and open it up to the general public to see what happens with all of these things.
Very good.
I think we would also like to work on some documents prior to the appointment of the safety director, like a conflict of interest, maybe a qualifications of what would be a good safety director, because safety director positions vary based on the police department and job description. So I think we need to do do our due diligence into ensuring that the paperwork and the framework for choosing that candidate is the best person for the city.
Agreed. So you'll have that for us the next time?
Yes, at caucus.
Very good. I read Mr. Stewart's, all of his accolades the last time. He did get his resume, and whether he wants to or not, I think he might be a candidate again for the next time. So, Mr. Stewart, thank you for coming tonight. We're going to move forward as the motion did fail. So thank you very much. Okay.
Is there any way we can ask Mr. Stern to get up and give us a short resume of what he has done in his career in law enforcement?
If you're willing to do so, sir, I believe you are here, and I'll allow that.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. Actually, I've been kind of a part of Linden for almost 40 years now. Started out at the Jefferson County Police Department, and I was Adam 12 speak. I was Adam 12 for some of you older people that remember the TV show, and I wrote Linden. So I kind of was my beat for 10 years through the whole 90s. I understand the situation, and I know it's been a whirlwind for all of them. The last few years have really seen a lot of changes in the league. And just from tonight's meeting, just for the first 10 minutes, there's a lot of questions about finance, what's going on. So all of you have a lot of questions, and you want answers. And you want somebody to be accountable. But I worked for the Jefferson County Police Department, and with the Louisville Metro. I worked at the Attorney General's office for 12 years, 11 years. So I was in political corruption, personal protection, consumer protection. So I have a very, well, more of an investigative police background, investigative background, state agencies. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Anybody see you next time?
I want to know why you like the code enforcement.
Pardon me?
Why you like the code enforcement?
Because I've retired twice. I worked for, I was working for Governor Bashir as a personal body. He was my principal, and I did that for a few months, but it was just a lot of work. And before that, I did it for Jack Conway, and then Greg Stubbo. So.
Well, I know you've done a great job working for our city as code enforcement, so thank you.
Well, Lynn's a great city to work. It is. It's a great city. And a lot of cities depend on you. And they look up to you too. But
And you will come back when we
yes,
have our
yes.
final things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, George, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Stewart, I'd like to ask you something.
Yes, sir.
You're familiar with shift changes and overtime they can generate being held over. You can understand that as far as money being
Yes.
generated from overtime issues that could possibly increase the budget. And as you know, police work is a dangerous profession. As the chief had talked earlier, 5 guys of his were wrestling with something like all of them put in the hospital, which will generate even more overtime for people being hired. You're familiar with all this.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
We're seeing that type of activity, and you know what goes on in as far as police functions. Yeah, now the policing should be fully implemented in the area to do the best job.
I do. The scheduling, I mean, if you have an 8-hour shift, I mean, you can easily turn it into a 10-hour shift. 12 hours, you always get held over, there's a shortage of police, something happens, you can leave. I understand. I I also understand that it's the city's largest, any city's largest expense is law enforcement. So I can understand people's concern about the money spent and how it's spent, where it's spent last year.
Anything further?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, some more police discussion. We have Municipal Order 92225A that was brought to our attention several days ago. Ms. Stuber, this was generated from you, so I'd like for you to go ahead and read this, please.
Sure. Well, it was brought to our attention at our last council meeting by a citizen of Linden, Linda, talking about how there's miscommunication out there regarding supporting the Linden police. And so it was recommended that a statement be drawn up and that hopefully all the council and the mayor will agree to sign this statement and have it published in the next Linden newsletter. So it basically states, we, the undersigned, want to clarify miscommunication circulating on social media and other places regarding the Linden City Police funding. Factually, the most recent Linden City Police budget fully funds Linden's police department current operations with a $4 million allocation. In our elected capacities as mayor and city council, we are jointly committed to managing Linden taxes and other revenues in a responsible and ethical manner to serve our community. Thus, we make critical decisions regarding the budget in order to balance necessary allocations for multiple aspects. These critical decision-making processes may, at times, include disagreements. However, we resolve to responsibly serve the best interests of our wonderful city. So with that, I would like to make a motion, unless people have any questions or...
I have some questions and concerns because I'm going to be asked to sign this as well as publicize it in the city newsletter. So what I've done is rewritten this, in my opinion, that definitely talks about transparency and the need to allocate taxpayer dollars in the best possible manner. But I also ask, and I'm going to read this clarification with a little bit different, in a few different paragraphs than what you have, and I'll pass that out to you. But I'm going to say that we, the undersigned, seek to address and rectify the misinterpretation that is circulated on social media and other platforms regarding the funding of the Linden City Police Department, and to go through and provide clarity about your budget that was approved with $4 million to support the current operations of the department. I want to add that recognizing the critical importance of preserving the financial stability of our city, the City Council hereby commits to discontinuing any further discussions or deliberations concerning the termination of contracts with other cities for police services. Such actions would constitute an indirect defunding measure by diminishing a vital revenue stream essential to sustaining our police operations. In our respective roles as mayor and city council members, we are dedicated to the prudent and ethical stewardship of Linden's tax revenues and other financial resources to best serve our community. This stewardship involves making informed and balanced budgetary decisions across multiple sectors, which may occasionally involve differing perspectives. Nevertheless, in alignment with our pledge to fully fund the police department, we agreed to carefully consider an upcoming budget amendment scheduled for October. This amendment will incorporate salary increases for department employees as determined by a comprehensive in-house wage and salary survey, provided that sufficient funds are available within the general fund to accommodate these adjustments without compromising other essential services. We affirm our collective resolves to act in the best interest of our esteemed city, ensuring that our police department remains adequately resourced and supported to serve and protect our citizens effectively. That's my change, and I hope you'd entertain that.
So you are passing that out. So if I understand that, are you saying that if we approve this, we are approving more money for the police without knowing if we have it in the budget yet?
We have it in the budget, but I want you to carefully consider the report that we're going to give that similar cities in our area have conducted regarding salaries and the disadvantage that our officers are placed in as far as the salaries that we're paying them now and how they compare to other cities. That we do have to do budget amendments, and so I'm asking that you support that when we do bring it up, because that will fully fund, in my opinion, our police department and give our officers what they deserve, since I did not ask for them in the previous budget, as you mentioned last time, that I didn't ask for it. So now I'm going to ask for it, and to me, that's supportive of the police, as well as no more talk about getting rid of the cities that we serve for money.
I
Because
understand that part, I don't understand the part about, we have it in our budget when we haven't got it in our budget.
carefully consider an upcoming budget amendment as determined by an in-house wage and salary survey, provided that sufficient funds are available within the general fund to accommodate those wishes.
And we have this wage and salary survey on hand.
We're working on that now.
So
So
what
when we
did,
work on it, then we'll do this.
well, so what did we approve then? Because we approved a budget that included raises for police, correct? How many?
Cost of living
Council,
increase.
raise your hand if you thought we were approving a police budget that included raises. So 5 of us thought, and last year we were told by the chief and deputy chief that you all weren't going to take raises purely so that the officers could get raises. And now we're told that they didn't get raises. That's why I did an open records request requesting all of the pay information for the officers, because we have approved the last two budgets have included pay increases for the officers. So if that's not coming to you all, I apologize, because we've approved the money for you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask for more because they deserve more, and we need to keep up with the other cities. Moving forward, if we're going to take a vote on the original resolution, I'm not prepared to sign that at this time and publish that in the newsletter. I don't disagree with most of the body of the message, but I'd like those things added too.
And just quickly, we're asking to put language in saying that we have, at this time, not defunded, and we have allocated the money asked for. That's all we're asking for. What you're doing is an additional thing that has nothing to do with this. And I'm asking you to separate those two so that we can properly look at the surveys you're talking about and properly give the raises as needed.
So
This
then-
is not proper.
Will you make a motion to table this resolution as presented by Ms. Stuber till we have more information?
Well, absolutely.
So is that a motion?
Why would I table this resolution?
There's been a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody else? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
Very good. So you want to continue to take a motion on the original proposed municipal order 92225A?
I make a motion that we adopt municipal order 92225A.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
I'm opposed. Mr. Mayor,
I'm not going to sign it,
confused
so
on your first,
I want to find out what happens with that. Yes, sir, go ahead. Sorry.
I was confused on the very first resolution to vote on, and on your resolution, I'm yea on. On Ms. Stimmers, I'm nay on.
The record will show that change. Thank you. So, Mr. Singler, could you indicate what may happen if they did approve this and I do not sign it?
They have an ability to pass the resolution. They don't have an ability to direct day-to-day operational control of the city. So
So it doesn't have to go-
placing things in the newsletter is part of the mayor's responsibility as the day-to-day executive authority of the city.
So, in any event, motion does pass for passage of municipal order 9/22/25. A.
But it won't go in the newsletter.
I'm not putting it in the newsletter because I don't agree. And if you want me to get into that, then we can, but
I have a question, John. 9/22/25A, which was passed, and then a revision of 9/22/25A, wouldn't the revision need a different resolution number?
either way, that's clerical.
Not necessarily, but I think you could put different numbers on them, but nothing, I don't know why. That's not something that's really critical or relevant.
Okay. We're going to move on then. We have another resolution that came before us a few days ago. Let's see, Resolution 9/22/25B, and this is a resolution directing video recording and publication of city council meetings. The council wishes, and they do say they first raised the issue of video recording of council meetings over 1 year ago, and despite repeated discussions and assurances, no action has been taken by the mayor to implement this directive. The citizens of Linden deserve timely access to their local government meetings in order to remain informed and engaged. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Linden, video recording requirement beginning no later than 30 days from adoption of this resolution. All regular and special meetings of the City Council should be video recorded in their entirety. Public access said recording shall be posted within 7 days of each meeting of the official or on the official City of Linden website, YouTube channel, or another platform easily accessible by the public. Responsibility: the mayor shall ensure timely implementation of this resolution. Any questions, discussion?
So this has changed it since I submitted it, and I'm just wondering who made the change to remove the caveat about if the mayor does not act within 30 days that, I know John said to take out the city clerk portion, but we still would like to have it in writing that if it's not acted upon within 30 days, that we will take that step and hire the appropriate person or company to take our meeting. So I'm just wondering who changed the ordinance to remove that.
Well, we did, and we removed the department, so if that was erroneously removed, I deleted it. So if I erroneously removed that part, my apologies, but everybody take a look to the back of the room next to the TV. The city owns a video camera and SD cards and the ability to post those videos on Facebook as of this
The
evening.
ability, what we want is to ensure that it's actually done.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's clear. Do you want to add that into the resolution and just repeat what you said?
Yes, well, the previous document.
So it'd be number 4.
Yes, it says council oversight if the mayor fails to carry out this duty within 30 days. Omit the portion where it talks about authorizing the city clerk, the city council, or a contracted vendor. It needs to say something along those lines, but omitting the city clerk portion, and that would be fine.
Again, I don't understand how the city council has authority over a contract vendor.
It's
If
not-
that's the case, then the mayor doesn't have authority over all the contracts, which is not the case. I mean, so in other words, could the city then make a motion to change the garbage contractor from,
Well, the city council has been asking for a year, John, for our meetings to be taped.
I have no
So
problem
we're
with
just
the
trying to
30
get
days.
that executed. It's taken over 12 months to try to get this done,
So for the
so.
last 6, you have been here that has recorded them and posted them on YouTube channels for us.
The problem I have with it is, again, the previous version had the council directing the city clerk to do things. This has the council directing a private contractor to do things while you have no executive authority. You have no executive authority as a council for day-to-day operational control of the city. That's the only problem I have with it. The 30-day window is in there. I'm just uncomfortable with mixing the forms of government because in a mayor-council form, the council has no day-to-day operational executive authority.
You're correct, but prior to the meeting when we were discussing this, and I asked, but we would have the authority to hire our own camera person, and did you say yes? You said yes. So,
I don't recall that conversation, but I'm telling you right now that my opinion is that you don't have operational day-to-day control over the city, and I'm not comfortable with that portion of it. I don't know that it's relevant because it's gonna, I think the mayor has told you it's happening right now.
Once again,
Are we using an independent contractor right now?
no, but again, that's one of the other hats that I put on is I can press record on the camera and download the data and upload it to Facebook, and I will do so.
without additional cost.
So,
Are we in open forum?
not yet, thank you.
Point of
No,
order.
yeah, point of order, thank you. Very good. So we're going to call for a motion to adopt as written, resolution directing video recording and publication of city council meetings.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 92225B with the changes stated by Councilmember Stuber.
With the changes. Okay. So, motion made by Ms. Benner, second by Ms. Stuber. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Very good. Resolution passes. We had one no, sorry. Very good. Okay, well, we're recording meetings, and within 7 days, check out the City of Linden Facebook page, the official page. That meeting, this meeting that you're in right now will be posted online. Very good. All right, my pleasure. We have an announcements portion, caucus meeting, Monday, October 20th, 6 p.m. Council meeting, October 27th, 6 p.m. The Linden Fall Festival is next Sunday, September 28th, from 2 to 6. Crashers on stage from 4 to 6. Other business.
Mayor, at the festival, are we doing trees this year?
It's too early to do the trees this time. We couldn't get them dug, so maybe come up with another way. But it's $2,500 for the trees that we bought before. So we can't get them dug in time for that September 28th date. So hopefully we can get some, maybe post that online, and I'll run them out to your house if you want one.
Are we doing pumpkins?
There are pumpkins. Yes, pumpkins, bouncies, food, and a concert. 2 concerts. Owen Phillips plays before the Crashers, who's about a mile away. He grew up about a mile away from here. He's been there in the past. Okay. 2 to 6. 4 to 6 for the main event for the Crashers. Okay, at this time we have other business from the council.
I'd like to know the status on Mr. Wegman's open records request.
Mr. Wegman has received all documents pertaining to that request. Any other business? Okay, hearing none, we're going to open the floor. Please, if you wish to speak, make sure you do sign in if you haven't already. Tell us your name, where you live. You have, try to keep it at 3 minutes, please. Respect the time.
Sharon Morris. I know we have an ethics committee, but I would like to know how it was, who proposed the people, and how it was chosen.
The ethics ordinance states how that appointment has to happen. It's recommended by the mayor with confirmation by the city council.
And the mayor came up with all of those names himself.
No, the council presented those names.
So we have an ethics committee that's supposed to oversee the ethics of the council, that the council gonna put the people on it and approve it by the mayor.
I did approve.
You approved, I thought you nominated Mira. Mira and, you did. Mira and Calvin. We only, it was a joint effort.
Because I will say that the committee, the communication with the committee from those that I've been involved with is not working. People are not receiving emails. Contact them, they're still not receiving emails. So there is a problem with direct. I'm not sure who's.
Yeah, I can't speak on that. I know they have a direct email address that's set up and it's posted on the webpage, linden.ethics@gmail.com.
If they are
I'm not the
responsible
committee,
for the ethics of the council and mayor, shouldn't somebody be in attendance at every meeting?
I've attended most of them, and I've been.
No, I meant at this meeting, I'm sorry.
They have been. There's one right behind you. And there have been many in the past. So I've been working with the Ethics Committee on their effort to get everything rolling, to get notice on the website, to get a complaint form drafted, to work on the ordinance, to work on rules and procedures, agendas, and all of that kind of stuff. And I disagree with you. I think that they're doing a great job.
But the communication isn't getting to the people. The
Well-
communication is great between you all. The people that are supposed to be witnesses at tomorrow's hearing aren't getting the emails announcing, number one, that they changed the date or any of the other information. So I brought it to Mira's attention. That's all I'm saying. We'll have the hearing tomorrow, it's okay. But it seems that if the information isn't getting to the people, that there might be a problem.
There's always room for improvement, so we'll try.
Thank you. Next.
Good evening. Earlene Bryce Owens. I've lived in Linden for 30 years. I want to say I really appreciate the action of the majority of the council members in responding to what I thought was a very constructive suggestion by a member of the community to provide some clear and neutral communication, clarifying the police funding. And I do think that it's very relevant that if the First Amendment, which was approved by the majority of council members, it does not proceed, and a Second Amendment or a municipal order is put forward, that is distinguished. So I think the point that Councilmember Ricketts was making about those being two totally different resolutions is pertinent and relevant, so I just want to note that. And thank you for your efforts to provide a constructive way forward. Along those lines, one of the things I would want to say as a member of the community who loves our community, loves trees, loves our library, loves all of the stuff, is that I would have wanted in this meeting to hear more about our fall festival. I mentioned a while ago that I attended a meeting of the Middletown Council, and during that, there was a little bit, I think an appropriate amount of discussion about things like the police and other things, but there was a good portion that was letting people know about the positive things going on, which was including a lot of details about the upcoming fall festival. And none of that was on the agenda tonight until someone brought it up. And since it's this weekend, I think, for instance, at that meeting, they had someone from the committee that was, or from the company that was putting that on that came to speak. So I want to encourage us to do more things like that, including in the newsletter. It was a little disconcerting to me that apparently the interpretation is that the current mayor is the only one who controls communication in the newsletter. That's a little bit disconcerting. So just wanted to note that and ask that there's more attention to the variety of things going on in the city. And thank you very much for your work.
Next.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Legman. My husband was not able to be here today, but I want to thank the mayor for his due diligence and his speedy response to get us all those documents we requested. Thank you.
Sir, go ahead.
Hi, Larry Owens, Auburn Ridge. Real quickly, I want to reinforce what the council, the majority of the council members asked, is that the safety director, I know it's a long time coming, hiring for that position. But I have worked as an administrator for most of my career. I have hired and overseen hundreds of staff. And one of the basic tasks of any position is having a job description. That is just a basic task. And I don't believe there is one for this, or it hasn't been shared if there is one. Also, I would think for a position in government, in the public sector, that should be a very open process in which that position is available for those in the public to apply for and look for the most qualified person for it. So I'm very happy that you all are taking that step to make it a public listing, a public process for that position. And along with that, it's kind of vague in the ordinance. I've read the ordinance several times about what that position is. And that's why a job description is really important. And one of the things I would request, and it seems to me from reading, that position is very similar to an ombudsperson. And that's a very common position in government. It's a common position like at JCPS and other things, that you have a person that is neutral, that they're not beholden to the mayor, the police, to the council. They're a very neutral person who is able to review and look at things and offer suggestions and recommendations. And that person also needs to be protected so that if they don't talk to her, they don't face repercussions. So as you put together the job description for it, I would encourage you to maybe look at job descriptions for ombudsperson and different things, and look for language that I think would fit for that. And I don't know if you want to volunteer, but I'm happy to do that. To volunteer to be a part of that process if you wish, or you may already have if you wish to do that. So those are my comments. I'm really happy to see that you're listening back, and that you're also hiring. I think that's a very important position.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sir, Chief.
This speaker, I'm going to call up Major Brian Tucker. He has some information on the incident you were inquiring about.
Okay.
The incident that you were asking about, I don't have personal knowledge of it, but I was told that it was an incident where a Metro officer returned to his home and found unknown persons in his driveway, confronted them, and it's believed that they were planning to do something nefarious. Whether that's breaking into cars or other things, I can't speak to. That's what we would think. But it's odd that they were in his driveway. That's why there was a mass response, because he confronted those at his home.
Yeah.
And that's not good when you find a bad person waiting for you at home. So I know they arrested one of the two people. I don't know why the other one wasn't arrested, but we know who they are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Major. Anyone else on the floor? One more. Yes, sir.
first of all, I just wanted to say, because I noticed I got some looks kind of all across the room, as far as, so, first of all, I just want to say, and I hope Ms. Stewart will also corroborate this, I had nothing to do with the video when it's being brought up. It was also kind of a shock to me. So I just wanted, because I know some of you all kind of looked at me, I'm already here doing it for free. I don't care whether or not I get paid for it. I just care about the First Amendment, which me talking about open records requests has obviously prompted other people to do the same thing, so sharing the love. I just wanted to ask a couple questions. First of all, from January 1st to September 22nd in 2024, 43 incidents that prompted a police response within a 1 mile radius of this building occurred. However, in 2025, from January 1st to September 22nd, 47 incidents occurred. None of these were, Lendon was the initial responding agency. I'm sure that they ended up coming out afterwards, but they were the initial responding agency. This data was pulled from LexisNexis, which is a reputable crime mapping software. So crime has been relatively chill compared to the rest of Louisville, but it's an increase. And I wanted to ask if you all were familiar, especially you, Mr. Singwick, if you were familiar with Warren versus District of Columbia.
Not off the top of my head.
DeShaney versus Winnebago County Department of Social Services. Town of Castle Rock versus Gonzales.
I'm not going to recall cases from a case site without some more context.
So every single case that I just mentioned to you were Supreme Court cases where the Supreme Court deemed that the purpose of police is that they don't have necessarily a duty to protect. Their job is not to protect people. It is partially to investigate crime and to be a deterrent, but you will find more positive reaction from community policing rather than throwing an exorbitant amount of money towards X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that or that they should get paid and less for what they do. I'm just saying that money will not solve that problem. Community policing will, because you've already increased the budget, yet crime, statistically speaking, no politics here, is going. Other than that, I wanted to mention, obviously, Charlie Kirk happened. He got assassinated for having an opinion. So did Malcolm X. So did Martin Luther King Jr. And something a bit more relevant to you all, the city councilman on July 31st in Virginia was set on fire. His name is Lee Vogler. And that was because a council had so much going on in a political space that the citizen felt upset and felt that it was a good idea to go try and assassinate a city councilman. So I just want to ask that you all tone it down, because unity is what's going to help us all, and just dividing with each other. How many assassinations is it going to take before you all come to your senses that we're here to work together towards the same goal? You can look up the cases if you want to know what I'm talking about.
Do you live here?
Yes, I live here. What's my address then, if you know?
Anybody else from the floor?
Well, then you don't know where I live.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Parents' basement, I heard.
Thank you, guys.
I don't live in my
No
parents'
more
basement,
comments,
that's
please.
back. So
Please.
screw you.
All right. We're done. Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn if there's nothing further from the floor at this point. Yes, ma'am. One more time.
I would like to suggest that we, maybe before the next meeting, have some rules of decorum that are established and
We're asking for that now.
and maintained.
I'll bring a gavel next time. Thank you, ma'am. Very good. Anyone else? Very good. Yep. Thank you, Mrs. Stanley. Is there a motion to adjourn? Ms. Sonnabon, thank you. Right here, second. Second from Ms. Ricketts. Thank you all. In favor, say aye. See you next month. By the way, folks, we're going to lock up the doors in about 20 minutes, so if you have conversations that are going to last longer than that, please continue those outside.